Alright, hello everyone, welcome to another Tour Series episode. Today I'll be going over the TSW line engines, which are the BR Class 37, which is this one, BR Class 08, BR Class 011, BR Class 31, and the BR Class 20. Reminder that I did not do the chopper and change scenario due to a red signal bug, so yeah. Anyways, let's get started. First off, you're going to want to enter the cab to the store. Now, keep in mind that there are two cabs on both the 37. So you got this one and then this one over here. What you're going to want to do is make sure that I can't remember what one it was. Make sure this is set to air brake goods. If you're hauling freight cars, that is, but you're most likely hauling freight cars with a Class 37. Up here, this main little black thing, you got AWS, so you can set that to unisolated, and then turn that on. To stop that, just hit this little, you just gotta hit this button to just stop that horrendous beeping noise. Also, if you want DSD, it's down here. So yeah. And, yep, that's it. And then there goes a Class 101, so that's what I'll be going over in a second. Nothing down here really. But you do have a seat height adjuster. Can raise it and then lower it. So yeah. Over here you got a handbrake. You're gonna want to keep this on while releasing the brakes for the train. Make sure this is normal here, the control cutout switch. And then make sure this is neutral over here, the exhauster isolation, and yeah. These lights are gonna be turned off in a second, I believe. I think the red light indicates that your engine's off. So how to turn on your engine? Turn on the master key, set this to engine only, and then put this, and then hold the engine start button. Then once you hear those things revving up, so there you go. Here's the thing to make sure. If you're running light, you're gonna want to make sure that your taillights are set in the back cab. So where the taillights are, they're up here. So yeah, if this cab is like the rear, and you're running light, then you want to turn these on, taillights. So yeah, doesn't matter which side because A and B are both taillights. So yeah, and then there you go. Heading back into the cab here, let's shut the door. Now, because these are two different cabs, I'm going to be heading to the other cab over here. So as you see, you got no lights here that are red. Just like the other cab, the AWS is this big box right here. But there's no SD isolation switch, so you're gonna want to turn that on in the other cab. Battery isolation switch, you're gonna want to make sure that's normal. Up here, that tells you what air brakes you're using, which will be configured in the other cab. Nothing changed in this cab really besides the back wall. So yeah, make sure your handbrakes are released too, and let's head back. So yeah. Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah. So sit back in the driver's seat. You might want to put this to 100%. If this isn't shut down, you're gonna want to put that to release and overcharge. Down here is your horn, by the way. Sander and slave loco cutout switch. Sand is for like gripping, like if you're on a steep hill going up. Slave loco, I don't think you really need to mess with a lot. Nose compartment light, can't really see it, so yeah. Then your cap heaters. Heading over here, got a DSD holdover switch. I don't know what it does really. And then a horn switch here too. Got a manual wiper handle. Along with a little wiper. To just stop it, just put it in stop, and then to park it, you just gotta hold it in park. And there you go. Same for this side too, the wiper's right here. And then you got a manual wiper. So, heading up here. Over here you got a route indicator lights. Just turn these two on at the top. Tail lights like I've shown you. Turn these lights on. Instruments. There are these little gauges down here. Cab lights. Interior lights A and B side. So yeah. You don't really need to mess with the interior lights because the cab light will do it all. Up here, there's nothing really to worry about. These are lighting, main circuit breakers, and main lighting switch. But yeah, making sure I'm missing nothing. This doesn't really need to be messed around with, the vacuum chamber. So yeah, that basically covers a Class 37. If you see these little like shadow looking things, these are the sun visors. For particularly sunny days, but yeah. And this is the AWS button. Well, this is the acknowledge. This is what, I don't know what this light indicates, but it'll go out once you hit like a thing on the track that's like yellow and gray. And yeah. I think that's it. So you can then release the handbrake. Which will take a minute because it takes so long to release. Come on. Come on. And there we go. So back here, set this little switch to forward. Set this to 0, then this, apply throttle. And that does it for a Class 37 diesel locomotive. with the BR class 08. So let's get started. So if you see these doors here, you're gonna make sure that these battery isolation switches are closed, I think is what it said, I believe. No, okay. So you gotta make sure those battery isolation switches are normal. Along with this side as well, make sure that's normal, and then close it. So now you can enter the cab, then close the door. Here's the driver's stand. Down here, you gotta make sure this is set to normal, and this is set to air. Unless you're like running light or something. Well, I just keep it at air. You're gonna want to set this to, oh, I didn't mean that. Make sure this is fully applied. This is something you don't have to worry about, but you can change it if you want. So yeah. Up here, nothing in here really. Make sure that's parallel though. Shut that. So here's its driver's stands. You can sit in either seat. It doesn't really matter. But yeah. You're gonna want to put this to running, but then put this to emergency quickly. Just so your train doesn't happen to roll away. And then you can just release this. Just start the locomotive. Hold this and start. And then once you hear that going, you're gonna set this to on. You can set the reverser to the direction of your choice. Down here's your whistle. So yeah. Up here is the brake overcharge button. Down here, there's your safety systems somewhere. If you see these isolation valves, you don't really need to mess with them if they say normal. So you can put that to normal, but it's not really going to be used because there's nothing in the yard really for safety systems. So yeah, your instrument panel here, you can point it towards the other direction if you're sitting in the other desk. So yeah, the emergency brake valve, and then your cab heating valve as well. Where is it? Your wipers. If you want to park them, you're probably gonna have to move them at a slow rate, because they don't sadly have a manual wiper valve, even though that looks like one. Same for this side. Wipers here. Keep an eye out for the little knobs next to the wipers. Those are usually the ones that are the wiper controls. Up here, this little switch here, you can turn this on, or all these on. Marker lights are your headlights, which are these wacky lights that are red and yellow. I don't get why. But yeah. I think that covers the Gronk. Also you got windows. It's pretty simple. There's also a manual for all these locomotives that are in the Tour series, but I don't know if they're all included yet. Like if they all have a full manual. I think they said they're gonna get manuals out on their website. They do have video guides as well, but for right now, I think it's only that. I think it's the only. I can't remember. hang on, I'll look. I think it's only the, yeah, let me look here. Yeah. Where's my video guides? Livery guides should be here somewhere. Or not livery guides. Video guides. Okay. So all I have right now is the ICE3M 442 1972 tube stock and the 423 video guides. So yeah. And they also have a braking tutorial, which is like 3.5 hours. But yeah. That's about it. So you can release this. They are planning to release more video guides soon also. So yeah. And then you can pull this lever towards you. And then you're off. Also, this blue needle here displays like your maximum permitted speed in this. If you exceed that, then it'll start beeping somewhere, and then that means you gotta slow down. There's no way to acknowledge it unless you slow down, and it will stop you after a while if you don't start slowing down. So yeah, but that's a Gronk. Alright everyone, we are now on the BR Class 101 diesel multiple unit, which is a passenger locomotive. So yeah, you're gonna enter to the cab door. They don't have any blinds, sadly. So yeah, you got a cab light here, which is really useful. So yeah. Anyways, we're gonna. Also, you can enter to the door here if you don't go to the passenger. So yeah. Can't. Okay. You can sit in the driver's desk chair thing. AWS is down here. Just hit this button to stop that noise. So yeah. Second man seat's here too. If you have if you're not able to brake in time, you can just pull this. Nope, not what I wanted. Train lights, that turns on those. Nothing really to mess around with here either. Here's a blind. If it's over sunny or something. So yeah, to start the locomotive, you're gonna want to make sure your control key is on. Make sure this is neutral. Make sure your reverser's off. Put that to full. Then once that bar starts heading up to the top, then your locomotive things are on. So once those two bars reach the top of that little dial there, or on the HUD, then that means the engines have started. So blue means left engine, right means your right engine. So this gear selector thing acts like a car. So I'll go over how to do that. You're gonna want to make sure that's set to 1. Gauge lights here. That's not really new to mess around with, but it's an engine RPM changeover switch. guard buzzer you can use for like telling the guard you're about to close the doors and you're about to take off. AWS reset button if you ever hear that beeping noise. This giant switch here is the horn. So yeah. Your wiper is back here. Like before, hold it in park till it parks itself. There are no wipers for the rest of the sides, sadly. But yeah, anyways, now you're gonna want to head back to the rear cab, but that's kind of a problem because the cab door doesn't like to open. So yeah, what you're gonna want to do then in this case is you're gonna hold the left arrow on PS4 or tab on keyboard, not contact, then open the right side doors or left side. Open this door, walk out to the coach, and then close this door as well. Then you can exit. So now you're going to want to walk all the way back here to the end of the train and make sure this is off, this is neutral, this is off, this key is off. Release that, and then make sure that's released. And then, also, right here is your tail lights, or your marker lights. You're gonna want to set these both to red, if this isn't the leading cab. Also, to assign your destinations, you got this little blind here. So for example, I'm going to Saltburn, so I'm gonna have to scroll all the way to Saltburn, which will take a moment. There you go. You're probably gonna want to put it to that, yeah, about that area. You're gonna want it up in the middle. So yeah, it's not perfect, but it's okay. Then you can turn on your light for the destination, and then that'll start glowing. So yeah, then you can head back to the cab and do the same. Reminder, make sure that all these doors are closed, unless you want to leave them open. But this door kind of has to be shut because people can get in here and then randomly attack you. Same here, you could set this to the cab on the back unless you want to be silly and then have two different destinations. Yeah. And then you can turn this on. Whatever cab's leading, you're going to want to make sure these are white. So yeah. Then you can hit U on the keyboard or just go back to this. And yeah, that's about it for the diesel multiple unit on Tees Valley Line, which is the 101. So yeah, to get moving, you're going to want to set this little switch here to forward. Then you can start rolling. So now I will be heading on to how to use the gear selector. Alright, so you're going to want to apply some power to get rolling. As you see, that's starting to hit to the top of the yellow zone. Once it hits that area, you're going to want to simply put the throttle to idle. Select this to the next gear setting. For example, if you're on 1, you're going to want to put it to 2. Then you can start throttling again. And then you just keep repeating this process until you get to the 4th gear. Because in 4th gear will basically keep you at a constant speed of speeding up. And then eventually you'll hit top speed. So for example, and yeah, if you heard that ringing, that turns off the AWS light. So for example, the top speeds of each gear, 1 was 16 miles per hour, 2 is about 30 miles per hour. Like I said, put it back to idle, select your next gear, and then apply power. I don't know where the manual door thing is, so yeah, unless there's a conductor that runs down the side of a train. I think 3 is about 40 miles per hour. I'm guessing, I don't know. Yeah, it's about 40. And then once you hit 4, you can just go whatever speed you want. But of course you gotta follow the speed limit. Also, this little switch here, that's what I forgot to do. So you're gonna want to make sure this is released in order to get moving. So yeah, this is like a water tap, so if you apply a little bit, it's gonna take a while to slow. So lap will keep your brake rate and stuff like that. Yeah, that's basically it for the BR Class 101. Now let's move on to the BR Class 31. Now, that rhymed. So now we're on the BR Class 101, not 101, the 31. So yeah, this is basically what I call part of the Shed family in Trains World. There's lots of others, but yeah, anyways, you're gonna want to enter the cab through one of the doors, then shut it. Here's the cab. You can also enter through this side. Handbrake's back here, this little wheel here, and this little wheel here, not heel. Don't mind that little clicking noise, that's just the train. This doesn't really need to be messed around with. Make sure this is air brakes good, but reminder that this can run some passenger services with the BR 101. So yeah, yes, this does couple to the 101. So yeah, so it's either air brakes goods if you're hauling like cement cars, and then air brakes passenger if you're hauling a 101. Compressor changeover switch, that doesn't really need to be messed around with. This is a battery isolation switch. Make sure that's normal too. Here's your AWS system. Turn that on. Then just hit that button to acknowledge that noise. There is supposed to be a DSD switch around here, so I'll head back in here. See if this is the one that it is. I don't see anything. Ah, so it's up here somewhere, I have a feeling. Somewhere. It is somewhere. I know you're here. You can't hide from me. It's, up here? Yeah. So you gotta head back to the back cab and turn it on. Heading back up in here, shut the door. Up here on the back wall, there's a little switch here. Tail lights are your red lights, indicating that you're running backwards, or, you know what I mean. This is your route indicator lights. That means this train is leading the train. It turns on those lights that are right above us right there. Engine room light and cab light. which is pretty bright. Right. Down here you got a seat adjuster, like the 37. After that you're gonna want to sit in the driver's seat, but heading over here you got a horn, along with the wipers. If it'll run. There you go. And simply put it to stop, hold it in park, and then it'll park itself. Hold over, I don't know what it exactly does yet. Same for the other seat. You got a seat height adjuster. So now you can actually sit in the driver's seat. Horn down here too. And then the acknowledge will acknowledge AWS or the beeping sound. Wipers down here too. So what you're gonna want to do, put this master switch to on, put this to engine only, then hold it in start till you hear a diesel motor starting. And there you go. Cab light switch is here too, along with gauge lights. So yeah, your locomotive brake is to start braking the locomotive, which I highly suggest using a lot because the train brake isn't really good at slowing down the train. You have to put it to like full service if you if you're in like a really sticky situation. But that does really nothing at all. So yeah. Then you can put this to forward. Might wanna put the locomotive brake to 30%. Blinds here too. Which is really cool because you actually get to insert it in different spots. Like as you saw there. This is the AWS signal thing. You might not want to get out of your seat because you might hear that hissing noise, and that'll take you extra longer to release the brakes. But yeah, that's about it for the not the 101, the 31. Those are the route indicator lights, by the way, the ones that are flashing, and these are the tail lights, by the way, that are flashing as well. So yeah. That's about it for the 31 locomotive. So yeah. And I hope you guys enjoyed. But we're now gonna move on to the class 20. Alright, so now I'm with the BR class 20, which is the last one. So yeah. Sorry about that, but come up the stairs and then close the cab door. You're gonna want to keep this fully applied, this is the handbrake. It's always gonna be like a wheel looking thing. It might not be on all of them, but it most likely looks like one. You don't need to mess with that over here. This is the hot plate. I don't know what a hot plate does, but it has a weird thing that turns on. Orange. Might be like a heater system, but I don't know. So first you're gonna want to do the master key. There is no master key over here, so you're gonna have to do this. Also, the nose has a different horn. So yeah, that's the rear horn. So down here you got an AWS isolation switch. Reminder, if there is a cab changeover lever on most classic locomotives, that means it'll turn it on. So yeah. Then you just hit that button and turn it off. So to turn on a locomotive, you're going to want to set this to engine only. Also, don't mind any background noises. It's just weirdness going on in the background. You got engine start. You just press it until you hear a little diesel motor starting, which you'll hear. And that's about it. Not about it, but it's that's startup. This is the height adjuster. You can actually raise instead of lower, which is actually pretty nice, but I suggest leaving it at the standard level. There. Here you could set this to forward. Also, let me show you around the rest. This is a rear cab control desk. It is very hard to see out these windows. Also, this is a manual wiper valve. It's like a little tiny, no, it's not tiny actually. It's right below it. Here you got wipers. You can make it run, make it stop, and operate it. Here's the fuse cabinet. There appears not to be any DSD in here. Oh, what was that? Okay, that's just nothing to really mess with in there. I'm gonna set this to air brake goods, because this basically only hauls freight trains. So yeah. Make sure this is off. Make sure this is in neutral / shutdown. Make sure this is actually reverse. Reverse means forward. So if you set this to forward, this will go in reverse. So yeah. Throttle here, which is like a very big stick. So yeah. Fire bell test. Oh, I think that signals that. Alright, so now you can actually sit in the driver's position. You got a window here and along with the other side. So yeah. Wipers. Put it in stop and then hold it in park. There is actually no manual wiper valve, is there? No, there is. Okay, that's good to know. So if once your throttle's forward, you can set this to release and release the handbrake. Actually, let me test here. Is there DSD? Ah, there is, but it's somewhere random. And I don't think it's in here somewhere, unless it's in the other cab. Also, you got a weird seat rotation glitch. That probably made a lot of people sick. I'm sorry about that, so I'll just flip it around, because it'll probably take me ages just to flip the entire chair around. I did not mean that. But yeah. Wiper, knob thing on the other side too. Your horns here too. And yeah, that's about it. Anti-slip brake, I don't know what that does. you turn up your instrument brightness there. Up here is your switches for the main stuff. So you got taillights, top marker. What's very unique about this train is it has like head code discs. So you can just like flip these up and down. But yeah, up, down, which is really nice. I gotta have to hurry real quickly. Cab light, lower left markers, lower center, and lower right, and then instruments. Instrument turns these on, and then you got your headlights on here. So yeah, and that's about it. So that's about it for the class 20, and now that's about it for this episode. So if you guys did like this, make sure to like the video and make sure to subscribe as well. If you do subscribe, you'll become part of the awesome squad and first 100 subscribers club. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.